Ladies and gentlemen, I've had to jump on straight away. Donald Trump is an absolute brilliant dude, man. The way he puts things together. He just categorically insulted the United Kingdom, mainly stabbing at good old Starmer, right? By talking about how the UK is full of windmills, right? Everywhere you go, the UK is full of windmills. He's just been talking about the fact that they're not even tapping into the North Sea reserves of oil. And he's saying that they have this fee of 92%. They take up 92% of any money that has been earned. That's why no one is drilling up there. They're focused on wind farms and they're buying them all from China. And if you didn't know that China's the one place that UK buys all these wind turbines from, yet not one single wind farm is operating in China. Trump, you are a funny dude. But let's just start talking about more pressing things. I'm looking at the poly market odds and I'm not really seeing anything about Greenland other than will he acquire it and what have you. There's a lot of volumes going into that, but I'm waiting to see if Trump is actually going to be saying anything about Greenland. Of course, he's stepped up and it's Trump versus the allies. There is this beef regarding tariffs. He's not really saying anything. He's just talking about all the great oil that's being pushed out and what have you. This is him talking right now. We're going to dive into that very, very shortly, but we just have to dive into what's going on. Netflix taking us tumble to the downside. Complete wipeout is just dropping. The NASDAQ has been dropping. And then, of course, Bitcoin hasn't really had a great evening. Asian session took a big spike to the downside. And, of course, it's a risk-off environment. Gold is soaring at all-time highs. Just watch out for the snapbacks. That's all I'm saying to you. Yes, central banks are buying. Yes, we have a bit of a story about mining and supply issues, but historically, gold runs on financial demand. It's not about mining issues and what have you. That's the shit they tell you just to get you to buy it because they're selling it. They're hedging themselves. They're getting ready for it. So just make sure that if you're going to buy gold, you need it to go to 10K to double up your money. Well, we need to see a catastrophic event. I think they're going to calm things down. The Greenland and the Euro tariffs are going to be something that's going to bring the markets back into regulation because Trump is going to be paying attention to the fact that the stock market is taking a bit of a tumble. But again, it's all about the logic of perceived value. If something is deemed as cheap, let's buy it all up. So let's break down what's going on today in the marketplace, ladies and gentlemen, so you are aligned with everything that you need to know. We're going to get it all started off with this comment right here. Scott Besson says that Deutsche Chief distanced bank from research notes on U.S. assets. To summarize it all, ladies and gentlemen, the Eurozone holds roughly around $8 trillion worth of U.S. debt, US bonds and equities. And these are the things that the Eurozone can effectively turn around and do to the United States if Trump is going to keep on playing this ball about tariffs. It says here that we've spent most of the last year arguing that for all its military and economic strength, the US has one key weakness. It relies on others to pay its bills via large external deficits. Well, unfortunately, the US deficit has increased yet again. So again, for every dollar that they earn, they owe around 127% on top of it. Look, Trump, look, you're going to be winding everybody up. And this is why I'm paying close attention to what he's talking about over here. And if he says something that people don't like, these guys are all ganging up on Donald Trump. All right. And Trump's just going to pull out the cards. And it's, for me, we've got to pay attention to how the marketplace is going to react. Quickly diving into it. Cryptocurrency taking a little bit of a tumble. You got the Ethereum right here. You got Bitcoin pulling back as well, going over to the Euro. The Euro's doing its flavor to make a very interesting play. I mean, how big or how Trump's going to be talking or whatever he's going to be talking about is being reflected in the dollar dominance. The dollar has pulled back quite aggressively. And then, of course, let's just dive into the story here. Check this out. JP Morgan saying credit card rate cap will be an economic disaster. This is important because Trump wants to put a cap on credit cards, and that is going to impact a lot of financial stocks if Trump does succeed in doing so. So just make sure that you're paying attention to a lot of these financial companies. Charles Schwab came in with its earnings and it matched earnings match, and revenue was in line with estimates. That's not too bad if we're honest with you. But the bigger picture of it all is Netflix right now. I just want to bring up Netflix for you before we start talking about other things. You can see Netflix is down. I mean, it's horrible right now. It's trading very negatively. and this is in the out of hours markets. Markets are not open yet, but it's dropping down, and that's not really great. But I believe this is to be an accumulation happening, as we are aware that the smart money, dumb money chart does dictate that when we see smart money buying, it's on the back of the indices pulling back, and that's something that you've got to take into consideration. Now, you guys know about the biomedical industry, all right? And you know I've been speaking about a company, Intuitive Surgical, who I've always mentioned it to you guys. It's a company that deals with robotics at helping surgeons conduct surgeries, okay? Check this out. This donut, Jimmy Boy, started talking about it, saying that one day these upside surprises will come to an end. He was bullish on the company's coming quarter. That means I have to sell the stock. He cannot talk about this, Intuitive Surgical. Please get that out your mouth, man. I'm so gutted about it. Just to bring that into perspective, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about the QQQ as well for some of you. But Intuitive Surgical, I've always been talking about this company. Is they deal with their medical systems and equipment. And these guys, man, they've been around for a while, and robotics is where we're going, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Even Elon Musk yesterday was talking about, on a podcast, he was saying that, you know, surgeons are going to be replaced with AI, all right? They're going to be replaced with robots. And he said it's going to happen within 3 years, or 3 years is the time frame. And then he went on to say 4 years. But come on, man, 4 years' time? He said it's pointless going to get a medical degree. That is wild. We're not going to have any doctors soon. But let's be honest. How many of you have gone onto ChatGPT? You've got a pain in your back, your neck, you've got a rash, whatever it is. How many of you gone to ChatGPT and just explained the symptoms, or even uploaded an image and it's told you something? I did it yesterday. My uncle wanted to know what this tablet was that he's been taking. I was like, just chuck it here, put it into ChatGPT. Oh, that's for your blood pressure. All right, cool. It's like chat has become the new doctor, all right? So why should you pay for medical insurance? Anyway, that's another story, ladies and gentlemen. Putting it into perspective. Other news. Don't eat canned tuna. Apparently, it says there's been some potentially fatal tuna that has been shipped to 9 stores, 9 states. It says that it's been all recalled, and there is a virus. What's the virus? It's bouts. What was it? It's botulism. Yeah, it can cause botulism, a potentially fatal form of food poisoning. All right, just listen. Don't eat out of tins. All right, you want tuna? Go out and catch it. All right, or just stay away from it if you are in these 9 states. It's not saying where the states are. I'm not sure. I can't. Here we go. It says, third-party distributor mistakenly sent the product to major stores in Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, and giant food stores in Maryland, Virginia, and Safeway, Albertsons, Vons, Pavilion stores in California. So just be careful. I thought I'd say that to you all, ladies and gentlemen, but listen to this. Mortgage rates, okay? We've got a problem with that. Mortgage refinances have surged again, but rates are now suddenly jumping higher. That pretty much tells us what the story is with the Fed's approach. In 7 days' time, they're going to be telling us what their plan is in regards to the interest rates. But if I just bring this article up for you, back in December, Berkshire and Hathaway Home Services have pretty much predicted this. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway shares mortgage warning, all right? And then this comes out in yesterday or today saying that we've got a problem with mortgages, okay? So if rates are being pushed higher, then that means the banks in principle who are selling these financial products have an indication that things are probably going to have higher interest rates for longer periods of time, which is a problem for us, which will be sustaining the idea that gold's price is going to keep on continuing its narrative to the upside because, of course, it works against the dollar. And, of course, when the easing cycles come into play, gold will always front run the actual dollar. It will always front run it when we're in easing cycle. If there is a change in the easing cycle and we go from hold to possible increase because inflation is still being a problem, be careful with gold's price because it will drop back down regardless of supply or mining, whatever the story is. They work on the idea that gold is a zero yielding asset. Right now, it doesn't make sense to go over into dollars because you're not generating a yield, but you'll go over to gold because it's appreciating against the US dollar. But you wouldn't put money in gold to generate a yield. You rely on the fact that its price is going up. If you hold dollars, you can earn a yield on it. That means you go and buy the US bond market. You're going in the 10-year. You can see that the 10-year bond market is up. The 2-year yield is currently trading negative. The 10-year and the 30-year, well, the 30-year is trading positive. So investors really they want to try and it's not making sense, ladies and gentlemen. How can the 30-year be up and the 5 and the 10-year be low and the 2-year be low? And then we've got this absolute madness. Anyways, let's just break down what's going on with a little bit of Bitcoin. Having a quick look into it, BlackRock hasn't really been doing too much. Outflows been pretty quiet. Over the last 3 hours, we've seen a lot of Ethereum, about 10, 20, 30, 30,000 Ethereum has been sold. And we've only had a little bit of Bitcoin taken off right now, which is good news. We don't really want to see them depositing Bitcoin into Coinbase Prime, but technically we do if we want to capture a rally to the upside. We are seeking immediate talks on Greenland. He's spoken about it. Here we go. Let's just dive into this right now, just to understand what he's saying about Greenland. This is really helpful for us. Let's just check it out.
Until I came along, NATO was only supposed to pay 2% of GDP, but they weren't paying. Most of the countries weren't paying anything. The United States was paying for virtually 100% of NATO. And I got that stopped. I said, that's not fair. But then more importantly, I got NATO to pay 5%, and now they were paying, and now they are paying. So something nobody said was possible. They said, we will never go up higher than 2%. But they went to 5%, and now they're paying the 5. They didn't pay the 2, and now they're paying the 5. And they're stronger for it, and they have an excellent, by the way, Secretary General, who's possibly in the room. Mark, are you here? Yes, he's here. Hello, Mark. We never asked for anything, and we never got anything. We probably won't get anything unless I decide to use excessive strength and force, where we would be, frankly, unstoppable. But I won't do that.
Oh, he just basically said it's all good.
Now everyone's saying, oh, good. That's probably the biggest statement I made, because people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
Tariffs.
All the United States is asking for is a place called Greenland.
Here we go.
We already had it as a trustee, but respectfully returned it back to Denmark not long ago after we defeated the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians, and others in World War II. We gave it back to them.
Listen to what he's saying.
We were a powerful force then, but we are a much more powerful force now. After I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so today, we have a budget of $1.5 trillion. We're bringing back battleships. The battleship is 100 times more powerful than the great battleships you saw in World War II.
He's not going to use force,
great, big,
but he's telling us his inventory.
Ships, the Missouri, the Iowa, the Alabama.
Who's going to go against that? No one.
Maybe we could take them out of mothballs. They said, no, sir, these ships are 100, think of that, 100 times more powerful than those big, magnificent pieces of art that you saw so many times ago, that you still see on television. You say, wow, what a force. 100 times, each ship 100 times more powerful than the big battleships of the past.
Listen to this guy.
That was the end of the mothball story. So what we have gotten out of NATO is nothing except to protect Europe from the Soviet Union and now Russia. I mean, we've helped them for so many years. We've never gotten anything, except we pay for NATO. And we paid for many years until I came along. We paid for, in my opinion, 100% of NATO because they weren't paying their bills. And all we're asking for is to get Greenland, including right title and ownership, because you need the ownership to defend it. You can't defend it on a lease. Number one, legally it's not defensible that way, totally. And number two, psychologically, who the hell wants to defend a license agreement or a lease, which is a large piece of ice in the middle of the ocean where if there is a war, much of the action will take place on that piece of ice. Think of it.
Back
Those
door.
missiles would be flying right over the center of that piece of ice.
That's why he
All
wants
we
it.
want from Denmark for national and international security and to keep our very energetic and dangerous potential enemies at bay is this land on which we're going to build the greatest golden dome ever built. We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember
my
that,
days,
Mark,
man.
the next time you make your statements. What we did for Israel was amazing, but that's nothing compared to what we have planned for the United States, Canada, and the rest of the world. We are going to build a dome like no other. We did it for Israel. And by the way, I told Bibi, stop taking credit for the dome. That's our technology. That's our stuff. But they had a lot of courage, and they were good fighters, and they did a good job, and we wiped out the Iran nuclear threat like nobody can believe. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. That, Venezuela, taking down Soleimani, wiping out al-Baghdadi when he tried to reinstitute ISIS. We did a lot. I did a lot.
This is the golden age, ladies and gentlemen. The golden dome.
Everyone was perfectly executed. Somebody told me that, a military expert told me, sir, everything you've done has been perfectly executed. I said, I know. So other presidents have spent, whether foolishly or not, trillions and trillions of dollars on NATO and gotten absolutely nothing in return. We've never asked for anything.
Come on,
It's
give me
always
something
a one-way
else, Trump.
street. Now they want us to help them with Ukraine. And we say, we're going to. I'm really helping, not even them. I want to see, last week, if you saw, it was 10,000 soldiers, but last month it was 31,000 soldiers died. 31,000. That's this room times, the number of people in this room times 30. Think of it. 30,000 soldiers died.
He said that he's not going to take Greenland by force.
27,000.
But he can't, because you can't take a lease by force. You have to own it.
It's a bloodbath over there. And that's what I want to stop.
Man.
It doesn't help the United States, but these are souls. These are young people.
Come on,
look like
Trump.
you, look like some of you right in the front row. They go to war. Their parents are so proud. Oh, there he goes, comes back. 2 weeks later, they get a call. Your son's head's been blown off. I want to stop it. It's a horrible war. It's the worst since World War II. They keep going. They'll exceed World War II. The numbers are staggering, how many people they've lost. They don't want to talk about it. Ukraine and Russia lost just tremendous amounts.
He's not really, he's spoken about the Greenland story.
Putin, and he wants to make a deal, I believe. I'm dealing with
Here we go.
President Zelensky, and I think he wants to make a deal. I'm meeting him today. He might be in the audience right now.
So we could see some benefit of that.
They got to get that war stopped because too many people are dying, needlessly dying. Too many souls are being lost. It's the only reason I'm interested in doing it. But in doing it, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right, last time. Very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being.
Call me daddy.
And now what I'm asking for is
going to hit the internet wild.
A piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades. But the problem with NATO is that we'll be there for them 100%. But I'm not sure that they'd be there for us. If we gave them the call, gentlemen, we are being attacked. We're under attack by such and such a nation. I know them all very well. I'm not sure that they'd be there. I know we'd be there for them. I don't know that they'd be there for us. So
I need to.
with all of
we need
the
to do
money we
something.
expend, with all of the blood, sweat, and tears,
Not
I don't
exactly
know
a
that
great
they'd
pump.
be there for us. They're not there for us on
Euro pulling back.
Iceland. That I can tell you. I mean, our stock
Gold's
market
pulling
took
back.
the first dip yesterday because of Iceland.
Here we go.
So Iceland's already cost us a lot of money. But that dip is peanuts compared to what it's gone up. And we have an unbelievable future in that stock. That stock market is going to be doubled.
Here we go.
We're going to hit 50,000, and that stock market's going to
That's down.
double
Here we go.
in a relatively short period of time because of everything that's happening. But this is a good example. After giving NATO and European nations trillions and trillions of dollars in defense, they buy our weapons. We make the greatest weapons in the world, but now we're going to make them faster, much faster. You saw that?
Yen's
I
down.
put a cap on the salaries. Then I put
Risk might be
no
coming back on,
buybacks,
which
no
has an
stock
impact on
buybacks,
gold and silver. They'll de-risk
No.
off that.
various other things that they were doing.
Be careful with it.
I mean, they were making $50 million, but it would take them 3 years to give you a Patriot missile. I said, that's not good. My chauffeur can do a better job than that.
My chauffeur.
And he makes slightly less than 50. They make big salaries. If they're going to make those big salaries, they're going to have to produce a lot faster. The good news is we have the greatest equipment in the world. Now we're going to start making it a lot faster. They're going to build additional plants. And all of the money that goes into
When it's high, you
stock
buy.
buybacks is going to go into building plants. We're not allowing stock buybacks by defense companies any longer. They're going to build new plants to make Tomahawks, Patriots. We have the best equipment.
Markets
F-35s,
open, ladies and gentlemen. In the
F-47, the
10
new one
minutes.
just coming out. They say it's the most devastating plane, fighter jet ever. Who knows? They called it 47. If I don't like it, I'm going to take the 47 off it. I wonder why they called it 47. We'll have to think about that.
VIX coming down is a
But
good
if I
thing
don't
because
like
it
it, I'm gonna take that
implies that
47
they've
off.
done the hedge. They're now waiting
But it's
for
supposed to be
reversals.
the stage
Investors
six.
will
It's
pull
supposed
out
to be
of
the
gold
first
in
stage
principle
six
because it's a
plane,
risk
undetectable,
off
like our
asset.
B-2 bombers
So
were
we've got to keep an eye
undetectable.
on
They flew
that.
right over Iran. They were undetectable.
Let's see if it's
And
sustained
they did
first.
their job and they
Bitcoin.
got the hell out of there.
Nice
So we
little
want
climb.
a piece of ice for world protection,
World protection for a piece of ice.
and they
Here
won't
we
give
go.
it. We've never asked for anything else, and we could have kept that
Please
piece
say
of
it.
land. And we
Please say
didn't,
you'll throw
so
tariffs. Come on.
They have a choice. You can say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you can say no, and we will remember. A strong and secure America means a strong NATO. And that's one reason why I'm working every day to ensure our military is
Okay.
very powerful. Our borders are very strong.
He's actually
And
being
above all, our
quite.
economy is strong because national security requires economic security and economic prosperity. And we have the greatest that we've ever had.
Okay, Trump.
Biden and his allies destroyed our economy and gave us perhaps the worst inflation in American history. They say 48 years. I say forever, but I think 48 years is the equivalent to forever. Whether it's 48 years or ever, it's terrible. Costing the typical
He
family
does seem careful, doesn't he?
$33,000. What they did to this country should never, ever be forgotten. It's early, but he has to be rated as the worst president we've ever had by far.
He hates
the
Biden.
auto pen did much of the damage. The auto pen, he was the auto pen president. Because I
We
don't believe
will
the same
remember,
president would
man.
have ever signed the kind of things that he signed. But now grocery prices, energy prices, airfares, mortgage rates, rent, and car payments are all coming down, and they're coming down fast. We inherited a mess, but we've done a hell of a job in 12 months. Under my most favored nation policy for drug prices, the cost of prescription drugs is coming down by up to 90%, depending on the way you calculate. You could also say 5, 6, 7, 800%. There are two ways
Holy
of figuring
shit.
that. But we have a favored nations policy that every president wanted, no president was able to get. I got it, and other nations approved it. And I had to use tariffs in order to get it because they
He
said
said
no
it.
way. In other words, a pill that costs 10% in London costs $130. Think it costs $10 in London, costs $130 in New York or in Los Angeles.
That is wild.
And I'd say, boy, that's bad. Friends of mine would say, you know, We go to London, you can buy the stuff for nothing. We go all over the world, we can buy it for nothing. Because basically America was subsidizing every nation in the world. Because presidents allowed them to get away with it. It became very tough. So when I called up Emmanuel Macron, I watched him yesterday with those beautiful sunglasses.
He's taking the piss now. Here we go.
What the hell happened? But I watched him sort of be tough. But he was at $10 for a pill. And I said, Emmanuel, and I have all the big pharmaceutical companies are in total agreement. It wasn't easy, by the way. They're tough, smart. They've been getting away with this scam for a long time. But they gave it up. But they said, you'll never get the countries to approve it. I said, why is that? Because they won't. They always said, we're not paying any more. Get the rest for the United States. So over the years, they stayed the same. We just went up, up, up. And I mean, we would pay 13, 14, 15 times more than certain countries would. So I said, no, they'll approve it 100%. Sir, you'll never get them to approve it. I said, I guarantee you. But I actually started with Emmanuel, who probably is in the room too. And I like him. I actually like him. Hard to believe, isn't it? And I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift the price of that pill to $20, maybe $30. Think of that. That means it's a doubling of prescription drugs. Might be a tripling, might be a quadrupling.
So he's hitting the pharmaceutical markets now.
No, Donald, I will not do that. I said, yes, you will, 100%.
Yes, you will.
He said, no. You're asking me to double. I said, Emmanuel, you've been taking advantage of the United States for 30 years with prescription drugs.
Indirectly tariffs.
You really should do it, and you will do it. I have no doubt. In fact, I am 100% sure you're going to. No, I will not do it. Because yes, in all fairness to him, he has to double or triple. Because the world being a bigger place than the United States, it's not that you meet in the middle. You just have to go up some, and we come down a lot. They go up a little, we come down a lot. So we're at $130, they're at 10. So they may have to go to 20 or 30. No more than that. I said, Emmanuel, you're going to be doubling or tripling. No. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. The answer is you're going to do it. You're going to do it fast. And if you don't, I'm putting a 25% tariff on everything that you sell into the United States and a 100% tariff on your wines and champagnes. And that's about 10 times more than what I'm requesting. And you're going to do it. I don't want to go public with it, but you may make me do that. No, Donald, I will do it.
No, Donald, I will do it.
It took me, on average, 3 minutes a country.
Listen, this guy's taking the piss, right? This guy is this is why everyone probably just hates doing business with Trump, because he does have the final say. Just the way he says it is just a horrible. Macron coming in with those shades is because he wanted to cover the fact that he was going to burst into tears being face to face with Donald Trump. No. Taking the piss. Trump's been trolling at the World Economic Forum, ladies and gentlemen, and he didn't even subtly, please do not confuse that he was begging for Greenland. No. When you start the conversation that we've got bringing back battleships, we're going to be doing this. We've got spent $1.5 trillion worth of spending in defense, all right? And, you're showcasing your inventory and you're saying, we're not going to take anything by force. You don't do that on a lease. So just give it to us, because we do need this plot of land in case someone gets a bit brave. They're going to be coming through that directive. And if you want to make sure NATO's all good and you want life to be good, then just give it to us. But if you don't, we will remember to fuck you in the process. That's what Trump has been missing from that sentence. He's been very subtle about giving the impression that if you do try and F with us, you're going to suffer for him. So he's used this stage to effectively promote his war or the spending of new battleships are going to be roaming around Europe because it's not too far. Just send a couple of boats and you're good, This guy is brilliant, man. Honestly, it is tactical warfare right here. Exactly that. Just standing on a stage and just talking about What a guy. Anyway, we don't care about that. We don't. We really don't. We care about what's going on with price. So everything's now taking a bit of a move to the upside, but just be careful. This is sporadic. You are in trial. You are trial risk as such, in the sense where something good is said, up it goes, but then we bring it back to business. Okay? And when something bad is said, it goes even further and then bring it sort of back into business, but it sticks to the narrative, all right? You're relying on words. Bitcoin has made a pump up and it's now pulling it back down again. The Eurozone, the Euro itself is making a move to the upside. Oh, against the Swiss franc, sorry. So here we go. Yeah, the Euro's taking a move to the downside right there. They're just loading up on Euro. Naturally expect that. The dollar itself is pulling back a little bit right now. Going over into the volatility index, they have pulled back, which is a good sign, a very good sign, which tells us that the NASDAQ is making a little bit of a climb to the upside, but it's just giving back yesterday's plays and, of course, taking out the high right there. Going over into gold's price, okay, gold has swiped lower to come back up ever so slightly. So we've just got to be very careful. Should we buy Bitcoin now or not, Tino? Listen, man. Look. Bitcoin. Let me explain something to you. They are buying it. Now, can you sustain Bitcoin? The mistake that a lot of people make is that when you buy Bitcoin, it has to go up. Wrong. It doesn't need to go up once you buy it. Don't have that in your mind that when it's now the right time to buy it, Tino, because I want it to go up in value. I don't want my investment to go down. Wrong. Look at what these guys are doing. They have been buying since the 16th of January, and that's all they're doing. They're buying, they're buying, they're buying, they're buying. The red bars mean they're selling. The green bars means they're buying, but they're buying on bid, which means that as Bitcoin's price corrects, okay, then that's where you're going to see opportunities for you to buy. You want to know where to buy? When you see these red vector candles coming into play, okay? So you're buying at that level right there. We then see another vector candle range. There's some buying over here on Bitcoin, all right? So then we look back and we say to ourselves, so where's the next big major level that participants started to exchange dollars into Bitcoin or vice versa, right? This would be your area, 85K. That's the logic, all right? That would be the next spot because psychologically, that's where they had actually moved from before, but this is where they've done the reaccumulation. So just remember, if you can absorb the moves to the downside, okay, then take on the chance of buying Bitcoin on the discount, okay? But you have to be prepared to give yourself a price range on Bitcoin. Can you absorb a 20K move from this point in Bitcoin? If you can't answer that question straight away, then now's not the time to buy Bitcoin. If you're not factoring in 20K fluctuations in your purchases of Bitcoin, then you can't be asking, can I buy Bitcoin now and anticipate a 20K move to the upside from the moment that I purchase it? You can't do that, man. Like, look, when you've got these participants on spot buying $129 million worth of bids at 8:45 a.m. in the morning at that single minute, I mean, come on, man. Whether it's a collective of orders or not, it's a lot of money, right, for a participant to be going in on bid, all right? But then you think about it and say, well, if you're buying $129 million worth of Bitcoin, drawdown ain't an issue for you. Yeah? What about that guy who's in a $900 million long on Bitcoin with $262 million in equity on his account? Like, I mean, that was a leverage trade, 5x. So, you know, he's all right. He's got nothing to worry about. He knows that the bigger picture says that they're going to go. EU delays vote on ratifying trade agreement with US. That should be interesting. That should be very interesting. Let's quickly just go over to the euro. What's the euro doing right now? Coming back up a little bit. That's no good, man. That is no good. No good. Okay. He may be the greatest yapper ever, but he's just basically told everyone, don't mess with the US. Simple as, we will remember. What are you talking about? So the comments that I'm taking from this World Economic Forum. Daddy. What president refers that? Anyways, never mind. Well, that's interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to actually project something, all right? Which makes sense about something, all right? Stick with me. I will strongly recommend I hope to sign the bill on crypto soon. Nice one, Trump. I will strongly recommend that anyone that's involved in AI starts to investigate the following stocks. Go and dive into small molecular nuclear companies, okay? Check out companies that develop data centers, right? Because Japan restarts first nuclear reactor since Fukushima under close scrutiny. TSMC is building factories over there. TSMC. Yeah? Foreign investment and development in Japan has shot up by 41%. China has got a lot of data centers, not of nuclear energy. All your Bitcoin farms are all in the Asian areas, okay? Japan now is reignited their first nuclear reactor. That tells me that in the future, or TSMC is already cotton onto it, that they're going to have data centers all in Japan because nuclear power is going to be the only thing that sustains the demand for AI. Just keep an eye out on that. Just keep an eye out on that. Trump says he wants immediate negotiations to purchase Greenland. That's great. It's not, we're going to discuss whether you're going to give it to me or not. We're going to discuss on how much I'm going to need to pay for it. You know, what you need from me, because I know you're going to give it to me, but just tell me what you want from me. There has to be something you want. There has to be something that you need from the United States before you allow us to have the Greenland story. I think this speech has been brilliant. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I've got setups to give out to everyone. Quite frankly, last night was a bit of a crazy game in Bitcoin. We took advantage of that short to the downside on the setups from last night, and it was a bit of a wipeout across the board, but we did hit our targets last night that we wanted to see, 88,564. And where was it? Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, and we saw Bitcoin take that zone from last night. Nice little sweep to the downside, 87,915. So they ripped that range to the downside. It was quite a brutal move. But just remember, ladies and gentlemen, you're dealing with macroeconomic conversations. Someone's going to say something that can lead the market up and down, all right? But the sentiment overall, ladies and gentlemen, is risk off, all right? So just take that into consideration. One bout of exciting news doesn't change the market and put it into bull market mode, all right? So just take that into consideration. The idea is that you buy the dips, sell the rallies, okay? Volatility regimes in the euro were saying that, but they did say that once they start to compress, things are going to change, and that was on Saturday, Sunday, and that's why we were favoring higher prices on euro going into the weekend in the market watch for the members, all right? So, listen, mad love and respect. Please trade safely, and I'll be tuning into you all later on. Take care.